Hello everybody, it's Holger Mueller here from Constellation Research, welcoming you to episode 109 with my fabulous co-host Liz Miller. How are you doing, Liz?
I'm good. I'm still amazed that it's episode 109 and no one's kicked us off the airwaves. Is that a wrong thing to think? I was still a little shocked that...
Oh, not sure who's listening to this, but who's listening, we appreciate that. To stick with us.
Thank you for not reporting us to anyone. So that's good. It feels a little bit like pirate podcast for technology. That should be our new... Oh my gosh, Holger. That's going to be our new tagline. CRTV. The pirate podcast for technology. Arg!
Get the insights you don't get anybody else.
Yeah. Get the insights that no one else wanted to tell you. What's going on? Let's talk about some technology news, shall we? Let's talk about the news, because you were like, listen, what's going on? Were you out and about? You had something to close out the spring silly season?
Yes. Yeah, I was not out and about because guess what? COVID is still a thing, and I tested positive for COVID Sunday night. So I missed an event that's becoming more and more interesting of one of the, as Amazon likes to say, old guard vendors, which is HPE. But the HPE strategy really is coming together in which was in Las Vegas 2 weeks ago, right? With the acquisition now, this is proof they couldn't talk about of Juniper Networks, right? So HPE is getting much more of a cloud player, which was always a challenge for them because Juniper does significant business in the cloud. And we know that security, which baked in with AI, is super interesting on the networking side. So the whole stack of networking with Aruba, which I would love to see Aruba all the time. I would love to walk on an airplane. I would love to walk in a hotel, whatever, and directly be connected to the network. That's so nice, right? They do this at HPE Discover. You don't have to log into the conference Wi-Fi again. They know you from last year and they trust you, right? So as HPE strategy for the first time is really coming together in the sense of having a strong networking component, which is not just SD-WAN, which is important, but it's also building, of course, hardware servers, which HPE has excelled, and the software layer around Morpheus and all the other pieces getting significantly stronger, can look into different clouds. So good to see the HPE story coming together. Then being healthy, of course, what do you do to recover? You travel 12 and a half time zones. So I had the pleasure and honor to keynote at NASSCOM's People Service Conference about how does technology change the new talent management. They call it talent operating system. Was great. So always an honor to speak to the professional of NASSCOM in India. And then, of course, was in India for doing some advisory of our customers there.
Very good.
My COVID recovery.
I like it. But, hey, with silly season coming to a close, it also means there's a little break to look at other news. AI is still a thing. I think it's summertime. I think we can all kind of agree that AI is a thing. Thankfully, because it's summer, event silly season, we've closed a chapter on spring silly season. We'll start ramping up for fall pretty soon. But listen, in my world, there's an interesting kind of buzz that's starting to happen, where we're starting to see people still really excited about the promise of AI, but starting to get really real about the realities and the uncertainties that are going on in the rest of the business climate. And so we're starting to see kind of more of a focus on, I think, something that Holger talks a whole lot about, right? Which is, it's all great to have the desire to have all the agents, co-pilots, algorithms, thingies, all the things that you want. But when we don't have the data that's going to make any of these actually work in a unique way, we're really going to start to get into trouble pretty quickly. And I think a lot of organizations are really starting to come to terms with that. They're beginning to start to grouse about not only where that data is, but where that data gets renewed. Because it's one thing to train your model, it's another thing to train your model to do something new and different, and to have that reasoning engine, and to be autonomous and to take those actions. Otherwise, it's just doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting something different, like the very definition of Sisyphus with the rock. So I think we're starting to see in the summertime, as people are having a little chance to maybe get away and take a look back on what their plans are and what those strategies are, they're starting to take a far more pragmatic look at AI. And I think we'll start to see some of that show up in those Q3 earnings as organizations that really wanted AI to be the big bang and to be just that thing everyone went out and bought. We're going to see that question asking, turning a lot of these AI implementations into a bit of a longer tail. But they're going to start looking at those applications. And really, every year I feel like there's some point in the year where I have to say that it's the season of Holger, and fall very well may become the season of Holger as everyone starts to look at that data, that infrastructure, and those next gen applications. But they're also going to look at something that Holger just published on. Holger, maybe as part of your news, you can tell me a little bit about what Hi-Fi is.
Oh, hi-fi. I remember from that part, but I'm counting for quantum fault powered by AI. So just to latch on to right. So yeah, quantum AI maybe can join forces and double them up, right? But you're absolutely right. Crazy season's theoretically over, but we have one major event next week. As a quick preview, right? I mean, the other major, it used to be AWS Summit San Francisco for AWS. That would be reInvent, and then March, April timeframe San Francisco, so like half a year apart. It shows that some things are taking longer because the New York Summit happening in July next week is becoming pretty much the more central other than AWS reInvent event. And of course, we'll be talking about AI, no question about that. So I think the only chance for you, if you want to get a break and contemplate of what Liz was saying before, is going to be August. I think August looking pretty good for very little AI use, but I'll eat my words potentially because there might be acquisitions, other things going on in August, which sometimes is a quiet month, right? But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. So I published a report, which I want to do since a long time, because one of the crazy things in enterprise software is you pay software vendors a lot of money for building transactional applications. And of course, a single transaction runs an enterprise, but the analysis, the reporting, the knowing what you've done today, what you've done in the month, you close your books, you have to pay people, how many hours have they worked, right? All those things require some analytical capabilities, right? It used to be good old reporting based on punch cards. I remember that. I have way here to prove it. And then it went to reporting. Then we had the PC-based OLAP, ROLAP, MOLAP, the PC. I can build my model on that. Then we had, of course, data warehouse. We know data warehouse is kind of like that. But for the longest time, the irony is that companies did not know what was happening with their data because it was just flat reports. Along came this thing called process management, right? Process intelligence, so understanding what is happening, process mining, what's happening with your process for real, which kind of like was ironic that you paid your ERP vendor and then a third-party vendor to tell you what's happening in your ERP system, right? And there's obviously players, and the whole category of software now is process mining. The method of process mining was also stuck in kind of like the 90s, where I'm the analyst, my desktop, my machine, my Excel spreadsheet, or well, not Excel spreadsheet, but often it is, as we know. No, it's my tool, right? I model my data, I see what's going on, I'm going to say what's going on. The problem with that is, of course, limited, right? You have linear data, you have to massage the data and so on. And it doesn't really model necessarily how the enterprise works, because guess what? The data you've captured is in the transactional structures, how they were set up 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. And keep in mind, right, the relational structure, and sorry for getting geeky here, Liz, and anybody in the audience, the relational structure was invented to save, do you know what? Disk space. We're storing stuff in a data structure, which is widely accepted. Everybody can SQL to save disk space. And that's the least thing we want to do. So we're completely obsolete part. So the way how to model infinite things, and you know, I like the word infinite, is to use an object-centric, object-oriented approach, right? With objects, I can literally model everything. It might get complex, it might be difficult, I might model it wrong. And that's where the object-centric process modeling is the new best practice for process mining or for process intelligence. Yeah. And it's super, super relevant right now because I can do a loss-free, and thank you for your question, right? This is why I call it the hi-fi to enterprise analytics, right? High fidelity modeling exactly how your enterprise works. Not how it's in your ERP system or your CRM system or how your data structure was defined by someone a long time ago, which is solid because there's APIs and interfaces to other stuff and so on. No, this is why it's super interesting, because you can model as this and then follow it. And now I'm last thought on this, right? Super relevant for AI, because you know, if I want to ground in yesterday's data structures, I can do that, but it requires a lot of intelligence. But grounding your AI, if you have a loss-free model of your enterprise, you can have significantly better grounding, and it doesn't require more intelligence to write that.
I think the thing that was so interesting and that really resonated with me when I was reading your paper was that this also leans into an idea that structure shouldn't be what punished everybody. Right. I think that the reality is that in today's, you know, the promise, at least for the line of business user, right, for AI, is that we can start to interrogate data differently. We can actually start to ask very different questions of very different data across very different models. And we can actually start to not look at those as the absolute truth, but actually look at those as the experiment that we build on. And then we continue to ask the different questions, continue to kind of go down the different paths. Because of our limitations from that structure, we had to maybe ask questions differently in the hopes of getting a better answer. We couldn't actually ask different questions, right? So I think that the concept of being able to bring in that high fidelity signal has been something that we've all been chasing across any function. This isn't just, an IT thing or an AI thing. This is really a business user idea that we really have to start thinking about, of kind of unleashing and untethering from those structures of the past. So I really liked it. I mean, congratulations on the paper. It was a good release. So I'd certainly encourage folks to go look at it. I think it's definitely going to tie into the news that we're going to see over the next half of the year, because as people are pulling in those different data queries and they're asking those different questions, we are definitely realizing that the old structure plus a new algorithm, maybe topped with a new technique, just got us to faster old process, right? It's one thing to be able to actually fundamentally change your process. It's another thing if we just slap new technology on top of old process. We just get faster old process. Doesn't really help anything. So I think, I think the time has come, but I think we're going to see all of that being tested and a lot of that metal being tested over the next half of the year. Okay, so episode 109, we got a bunch of interviews, as we always do. So we want to give you a little insight into what's happening out there in the world of technology with some awesome conversations. And after those, Holger and I will be back to say goodbye. But just know we're in the summer, folks. Like, take a break, take a breather, step back, take a look at those strategies, reassess those. But most importantly, maybe look around, say hi to your team, say hi to your family and friends. But we'll be back in a few to close out episode 109.
Hello, everybody. It's Holger Mueller from Constellation Research, here to talk to you about some things which I want to talk about since a while, which is the emerging AI standards and their relevance. But before we dive into the three most prominent standards, let's quickly talk about why do standards matter, especially, well, pretty much everywhere, but also in IT and software, right? They denominate the marcations between different layers of the stack and different vendors of the stack, and as such are super crucial to allow what every enterprise wants, to avoid lock-in, right, and to avoid capability to use software assets, may they be hardware, may they be on the software side, to work with other assets around there. And that's where standards are super important. Standards have built the world, let's say TCP, HTTP, whatever, HDFS, whatever you want. The IT world is built on standards, and standards are super important. Now, coming over to AI is moving super fast. So standards can also be something which locks and slows down capabilities, and standards can be very difficult to build. So it's actually good to see that standards only joined the Gen AI timeframe around the 2-year mark, when there was a certain stabilization. And the key trigger to that was, especially for 2 of the standards, that AI had to speak beyond company boundaries, right? So, but let's talk about the 3 most prominent ones, which quickly to summarize is MCP, A2A, and AIC. ACP, sorry, not AIC, ACP. Let's start with the Model Context Protocol, MCP, which is basically something which makes in a standardized way available to AI or to an agent what are the resources available in different systems. Think about it like a lingua franca, or maybe the Esperanto of AI, where basically an agent can pick any backend system that supports the MCP protocol and then do things inside of that. Super relevant, super crucial, originally coming out of Anthropic, and as such relevant for all AI software, basically, to understand what are resources available for them. Was adopted right away from everybody. No standards were on that, which is good to see. Let's move over to ACP, the Agent Communication Protocol, which originally comes out of IBM, which worked typical for standards very well with the Linux Foundation on the open source side. It's not part of the Linux Foundation. And it's a way to, well, which triggered the standard, right, for agents to talk to agents. That's why it's called the Agent Communication Protocol. It is a little more proprietary in general because it's using the BAI framework from IBM, which is automatically baked in, but it's also part of the Linux Foundation, so all standardized. It triggered a little bit of another standard, which was released by Google officially in April at Google Cloud Next, which is A2A, Agent-to-Agent Protocol, which really focuses about 2 agents between enterprise borders talking to each other. Google has done a miraculous job of signing up everybody, and it was clear that A2A is going to be the standard for agent-to-agent communication when Microsoft at its Build conference, I believe it was in May this year, endorsed A2A as well. So no major discussion about what to use and not to use. And then comes, this triggered also the call, because it means that there will be no standard wars, because Google donated then A2A and all its work, which probably was part of the communication of people signing up to who else than the Linux Foundation as well. So ACP and A2A are now Linux Foundation. Everybody in the committees can make sure that those standards which have some overlap can be merged. What matters for CXOs and CIOs on that? It's important that you talk to your AI vendor, that they support the standard. The standard will help you to have more portable agents, will have more standardized agents, will have more exchangeable agents. If you're planning to do something beyond the enterprise, right, it's even more important to make sure that whether you're talking to your customers, suppliers, partners, whoever, support the same standards. And the standard is pretty much A2A for this at the moment. So that makes things significantly easier. Changes will certainly occur. We'll see how good of a steward the Linux Foundation is. We're a steward for a plethora of different open source and general standards, and mainly open source, but A2A has effectively now become open source. So it will be interesting to see how that evolves going forward, because there's still so much to do. But the key takeaway for any buyer decision maker is, the good news is there is no standards war, there is no standards debates. Remember the old VHS versus Betamax debate for video recording, if you're young enough or old enough to remember that. So that will not be happening for the AI part, which is really important because there's so much promise out of the AI capabilities that are coming out there. Right, what do you think about the AI protocols that are emerging, that have emerged, that are being adopted? Maybe you're building and using about them. Please don't be shy, be vocal. Let us know what you see, what you hear on those. What do you think about them as well? Looking forward to hear from you. This is Holger Mueller from Constellation Research. Many thanks for watching. Appreciate it.
Hey, everyone. Liz Miller here, back for another CX Convos. We're here to talk about digital asset management. First of all, you got to tell our viewers the who you are and what you do and who you do it for. But I want to hear your thoughts on something. I have always been a firm believer as a marketer that there are certain things that offer that last mile to get my job done, right? It's kind of like finishing off a dish with a little bit of olive oil, right? It gets you just that last piece. For me, DAM has always been that last mile of experience delivery. It's that last gate that I can rely on to get to my goal of durable, profitable relationship with my customer. That's personalized, that's contextualized, but it's for my brand. So as a marketer, that's always been how I've positioned DAM. Am I wrong?
No, that's absolutely right. First off, I am Shelly Chiang, and I am in product for Adobe AM Assets. And to going back to that last mile, it's actually the most important mile, right?
Yes!
The one that gets you to the finish line. With a DAM today, this is where AI kind of comes in, right? So
yeah,
it's not just a feature, it's a way to humanize DAM. So it makes it really approachable, and it's turning that tool, that rigid tool that you think about from the before, but it's turning into something more like a personal success assistant. So
oh, I like that.
Yeah, and it's sort of like, instead of hunting for through your folders or typing in keywords, just imagine saying something like, "Hey, show me your top performing product shots from last fall campaign," and there you have it. So you're able to get all that from a conversation.
And I think when it's connected to systems, I think the other thing people tend to think of when they think of DAM, but yes, they think about it like file storage, and it's fancier, and maybe it's a prettier interface, or you can make a portal from it, right? Like that's very like DAM 1.0, it kind of feels like. But I think also when people think about what you want to search for, or when you say, get me the most successful, they mistake that for get me the most used. And if you're still in DAM 1.0 mode, you're just looking about how many times it was used, different places it was used, maybe who was in it. I think when you can connect it to that larger event system, that larger analytic system, when you think about the connection between asset and data, you can actually see from a performance point of view, hey, what was the most successful? What has been consistently successful over time in creating better relationships with our customers through these assets that we value in DAM, as opposed to these assets that we're hiding in DAM? Like, it always feels like if we're just sorting them and storing them, we can hide them a little bit too. But what you just said of show me the best performing, even that has taken on new nuance with AI.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's not, it isn't that DAM isn't, the content in DAM isn't reusable, but it's because it's hard to find, right? And
yes,
like I said, like AI kind of changes all of that. Like the way that we see DAM before drastically changed, and even in months, it's kind of crazy right now.
Dare I say, damn, right?
Damn, it's damn, right? So it's enabling, like, to have that type of level of conversation with DAM. It's enabling teams to sort of find more of that, like, needle in a haystack. It's to get inspired, it's to reuse, it's to scale, and it's to activate. So all these things are things that we want to do, right? But it's not necessarily like having to get there is really actually difficult. But the way that things are changing now, it's actually making things a little bit easier.
And it's allowing individuals to search and explore and find, as opposed to like, get me something that's relevant and resonant to this market. With AI and DAM today, you can get this down to help me find what Shelly digs.
Yeah, it's
which is a completely new convo.
Yeah, it's definitely a flip. So it just becomes even more possible to reuse. So, and we're talking about, like, not just for marketing, but we're talking about enabling teams like outside of marketing, like sales, product, regional teams. That is really where scale lives, is to be able to branch the way that people get content in the hands of these people. That's where the scaling actually does happen.
I think a lot of people forget that DAM can serve as that. I think a lot of people want to think of DAM as something that can be at the start of the active creation, but I actually think it's most powerful when you start to look at it at the end, right? Like, how do I find the needle in the haystack, but how do I make sure that haystack is in the winter and not in the summer when the original asset was shot in summer, right? Like, how do I contextualize because of DAM, as opposed to, like, how do I have to figure it all out? So when you think of, when we start to think of that strategy of, are we missing people that should be connected to DAM? Are we missing things that we should be doing in DAM that we're doing someplace else? Does something pop to mind?
I think another thing is, like, maybe the regional aspect of it too.
Yes.
So when you're thinking about like not just changing the summer, I'm thinking, like, even like the way that you look for content from a multilingual sort of aspect is important. So what if you're able to even, like, search through your language, right? Or what if you're, like, bilingual? Like, I'm bilingual, so I sort of, like, have a mix of, like, two different languages, Shelly. Right? So and I speak, like, I speak, like, broken Chinese or whatever.
Oh yeah, like my Spanglish is excellent. Like my broken Spanish, I can search for some things, but to be able, like, I think with AI, and especially generative AI and large language models that are put to this task, if I can ask in English, I'm asking in 2 seconds versus, like, yo, Kiera, like, I'm not.
Exactly. It just becomes no language barrier at that point. Right? So DAM can understand you regardless of your language. Right. So those are the types of things that I feel like is so helpful when it comes to, like, regional aspects to it, because they are the ones that are doing the reusing. They're the ones that are saying, like, hey, I'm in the Swiss Alps and I want like cold mountain, or I'm in the Bahamas and I'm with flamingos and beaches and things like that.
Right. So, like, I don't just want a palm tree, I want a specific palm. Like, and I think that becomes so interesting, not just for globalization, but for the opposite, which is happening today, which is that hyper regionalization. I don't just want a beach. I want a beach in Florida.
Yes.
I want a beach in California. And if you're Californian, you know what I mean, that there is a difference, right? So I want that difference, right? I want to be able to say, I want farmers who are with a certain crop. And I think that when you look to that really wonderful combination of the data that can come in about your audience, about your customer, that rich segmentation, the analytics, so you know what works best, you know what type of recontextualization you need to do, and a DAM that can really help you with that regionalization along with that localization and the globalization, that's when it becomes a little bit more of a Swiss Army knife. Like that's when it becomes that multi-purpose tool.
Yeah.
And for people watching out for their budget, which so many teams are so hypersensitive right now about budget and really wanting to be mindful of how they are spending. Suddenly DAM becomes a really important conversation to ask, are we using DAM to its fullest capabilities and to its fullest strategy? Right? I don't think enough people are having that conversation.
Yeah, I think it's really like use it as a strategic tool, right? It's a living system. It's one that learns, it adopts, it adapts, it grows with your business. And
at least
use
it
as
should. Like if it doesn't, don't. That's not a DAM. Like I'm just gonna be super honest. Like I know you can't say that. I'm gonna say it. If it doesn't do those things, it's not a modern DAM, and you're gonna want to ask some questions.
Yeah, and it has to be it becomes your content intelligent engine, right? It takes action on your content. So it has to take action on your content. It has to support your team's creativity. And it keeps you brand consistent, and it reflects the efficacy of your brand. And this is what really helps your story scale. So I really want to take those couple elements of these are must-haves in today's world, right? The way that we have to move faster, the way that we have to embrace AI is another thing, in order to move faster, right?
Yeah. I think, Shelly, you put it perfectly. It's a strategic tool, right? It's a strategic tool about leveraging what we've already invested in these assets and all of that time and all of that thinking and all of that brand love, and turning it into something that is reusable and scalable and actionable. That's really what DAM brings to the table.
Yeah. Damn.
Damn, girl. Yes. Okay. We could do that all day long.
I know.
Trust me, everyone, Shelly and I can. We will totally do that all. Shelly, thank you so much for joining me on this.
Thank you for having me.
I've had so much fun. And listen, everyone, strategy, think of it, creative space, giving your mind some time to have that next big creative vision. These are the things that we need to be asking when we're talking about DAM. It's not just about the storage. It's not just about the files. It's about being able to meet our business goals thanks to the assets we've already invested in and created. Shelly, I'll see you again out there, my friend. Thank you so much for joining me. Until next time, everyone. Woo! Barn burner. It's what we do around here. Episode 109 coming to a close. Thank you guys so much for viewing. As always, you know that our nonsense continues in the bloopers that come after this. Listen, we also know it's the only reason why you watch. Like, we're not insulted. It's fine. Hurt our feelings for our news, but whatever. We get it. We're weird. But what happens in episode 110, which, fun fact, Holger, did you want to share with everyone what 110 is?
Yes, 110 is an emergency call in Germany. So not that when we would be in an emergency, but we would like you to think of us when you're an analyst in an emergency, like you want to make sense of something that's happening.
Please do not dial 110 in Germany and ask to speak with Holger. You will speak with a Holger, but he will be an official of the state and probably be very mad at you. So please don't. But next up in episode 110, it is going to be Larry Dignan and Martin Schneider coming in with more hot news of what's going around. It is going to be post AWS AI Summit in New York City. We are all going to be there, you're just causing trouble. Typically, AWS is used to it though. So thanks for all of them for inviting us out. And then we are going to be having our super secret closed door analyst relations experience. So every year, Constellation Research, we like to get our analyst relations community together, find out what's going on, talk about those trends, and figure out how the world of analyst relations is continuing to evolve. So we won't be able to share much about it because it is a closed door session, but who knows? We might have some tidbits we can share the next time we see you on episode 111. So on behalf of Holger Mueller and myself, the lesser Miller cousin, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching.
Guys, look at this.
What? Whoa.
Ooh.
What?
It's a new StreamYard feature. They added some new clips you can put in.
Oh, lost the audio.
I
lost my headset. Hold on.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus.
How did that happen?
Also,
I don't know. What's this one? Oh. Like, subscribe.
Smash that like button.
Smash that like right down there.
Ah, I know what's going on. Hold on. Something else is running. Sorry, guys. I can't. I only hear loud music, which is coming from one of my tabs. I don't know if you can hear me.
We can't
And I
hear your
cannot
music, but we
locate this
can't
tab.
hear you.
Oh, God. Now it's perfect.
Oh, I know what it is. I know what it is. 1 second.
Oh, Jesus. Who's getting in trouble? You want to come say hi?
Hi, Reagan.
All she wants to know is if she can go play her weekend games, which is like the big summer extravaganza. If she wants to be able to play her Toca Boca haircut, Hello Kitty, whatchamahoosit. I don't know. Holger,
No.
just log off and log back in.
This is episode 109. We're still having these issues.
Jesus Christ. It would be like we were expected to know technology. This is why this is a lesson. One phone, dude. Just one phone.
It would have happened with one phone too.
My eyes kind of start glazing over once you start explaining this.
Welcome to the world of technology. Welcome to the world of being a technology analyst. Because if everyone could go ahead and just tell us that their eyes glaze over when we're explaining technology,
I can make it.
Story of my damn life. Hey, yeah, you probably shouldn't put those 7 pieces of supposed automation together. And they're like, we're not listening to you. Hey, guys, you know, all of those AI agents are all heading to the same place, and none of them are going to do what you think they're going to do. We don't care. We have agents anyway. It's like, this is our everyday. Welcome.
Yeah.
I just don't understand. The fascinating thing is when Hannah played the breaking news thing, and then it played some music.
Mm-hmm.
For whatever reason, it decided to connect to my phone right when you played media here. I heard you fine, but how can a connection to a Bluetooth device get trumped by another device? Triggered by
autonomous actions. Agent
so if
force.
we had time now, I would like to troubleshoot.
Hashtag Agent Force.
I would blame an AI agent, Holger. I would say that there is an autonomous agent running there.
I blame Microsoft. I was really blame Microsoft. So Microsoft now finally, instead of not giving you access, they have a pop-up they want to upgrade, right? So Microsoft, which has access to my calendar, says they want to upgrade my machine at 54 a.m.
You know what would stop that? You know what would stop that? It's called a Mac. Which just
no. It's
would just come on over. We just update.
How much time do you have?
2:00 in the morning. I have no time for your Apple rant.
And don't give me Mac advice because the Apple Store right now cannot. The Apple Store right now cannot log me into my Mac.
Because it hates you. It knows all the shit you talk, and it's like,
Okay.
That's what it's doing. That's what it's doing.
They have more advanced AI.
But
so why do you give me advice to go to a Mac knowing that the Mac hates me? You can have enemies and colleagues.
Because I just enjoy watching your head explode. That's why. Hashtag funsies.
Okay. 110, right?
No, we're 109. Right? Aren't we the odds? We're odd.
Dang, I had such a good intro for 110.
No, we're the odds. I mean, that fits. It's
is
more
109
is
109 an emergency services number anywhere in the world?
No.
Dang it.
No,
I was here. 110 emergency service in Germany, and we can do this. Call the Constellation analyst. Dang it! So I give something. Let's see.
Please don't call German emergency.
Listen to us.
Right? Good Lord. Good Lord.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's plow through this. Is there any news? Oh, Jesus, I don't know.
Episode. So I say, do I?
Episode 109.
Episode.
Yes, you got it.
Episode. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm working on it.
Good.
Spending money on it. Okay. Hello, everybody. Good to go? Or are you still?